Hey guys, what you doing? It's TheKillerDoll here, and you might as well call me Marty McFucking-Fly because I guess we've just time traveled back to 2016. So for those of you who may not be aware, bless your souls, Illinois, the lovely little nightmare state that I grew up in, has yet another brain-dead politician that's decided to pick a fight with the gamers. Because apparently, gamers are violent, horrible people that deserve to just, fucking perish. So articles and tweets came out on February 23rd about how a Chicago representative, Marcus Evans Jr., for the record, is proposing that some amendments get made for a law that basically got passed in 2012 that says that retailers cannot basically sell violent video games or basically M or A rated video games to minors. Totally makes sense, totally justifiable rule. Kids shouldn't really be playing a GTA 5, so I get it. Just switching it so that video games that are deemed to be violent and all that cannot be sold or rented within Illinois. An Illinois legislator is looking to ban the sale of all violent video games in the state, according to amendments that would adjust a 2012 law, which currently keeps retailers from selling certain violent video games to minors. The documents were filed on February by Representative Marcus C. Evans Jr. in response to an increase in carjackings and violent crime in Chicago. House Bill 3531 would prevent the sale of all violent video games in the state. As defined in the bill, a violent video game is described as one that allows a user to play or control a character within the video game that is encouraged to perpetuate human-on-human violence in which the player kills or otherwise causes serious physical or psychological harm to another human or an animal. Now, I truly thought that this had to be a joke because the reasoning behind it is absolutely stupid. That reason specifically being carjackings increasing within Chicago. But I stupidly decided to cross-reference sources, and it is actually accurate. That is literally why the guy is wanting to ban violent video games, because of carjacking rates going up in January. The dude specifically cites Grand Theft Auto as being the reason why carjacking rates are increasing within Illinois, which is, okay. So you all are probably wondering what all this entails for video games and buying that and all that. So here's just a little bit more detail into the amendments planned for this bill. Elsewhere in the amendments, legislators look to change the definition of serious physical harm to include carjacking, among other things. Rates of carjacking have increased across Chicago, with 218 incidents reported to police in January, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. The bill would prohibit the sale of some of these games that promote the activities that we're suffering from in our communities, Evans told the Sun-Times. Now, I don't want to shit on Marcus Evans' entire political career, but there are a lot of video games that let you basically perpetuate human-on-human violence or just violent acts in general. Literally, just to give you some examples, there is Simpsons Hit and Run, Detroit Become Human, Overwatch, every single fucking Call of Duty game that exists, any James Bond game, Cyberpunk 2077, the entire BioShock series, LA Noire. I can honestly keep going if you need more examples. But the gist of it is, all of these video games offer you a range of hurting people in violent acts. I'm giving violent a little bit of quotes there because I don't consider some of these games violent. Now, I don't mean to start shit, but 3 of these games that I listed are literally rated T for teens. AKA, if you walked into your local GameStop, you would not get stopped from trying to buy this if you weren't 18 or older. These 3 games mentioned have violent things within them, however, they're not violent enough to garner a harsher rating by the ESRB, such as the M rating. Mind you, 2 out of the 3 games I've said are cartoon violence. So with these amendments in mind, you're not just getting rid of GTA 5 or any of the Grand Theft Auto games in the scheme of things that are too violent and causing harm to the community, which we'll get into that in a minute because I truly have a bone to pick with that reasoning. You're getting rid of games that have literal cartoon violence within them that is not made to be taken seriously or is even played out in a funny way with Simpsons Hit and Run in mind. Another part of this that is absolutely laughable to me is this idea that it's for the sake of the children, when, as I mentioned in my Cyberpunk video, the ESRB exists for a reason and you are out of touch, you brain-dead gonk. Children as is cannot physically buy a game that is rated M for mature. Literally, as somebody who's worked at GameStop in the past, I could not sell a rated M game to somebody who I thought was underage. And if they couldn't produce evidence that says, yeah, I'm actually of age and I can buy this game, I couldn't sell it to them. The only way I could literally sell a rated M game to somebody that was definitely underage and not meant to have that game is if their parents were there to buy it for them. Which means that the parent is giving their consent for the kid to play this game, knowing what's in the game and saying, yeah, you know what, fuck it, yeah, my kid can play Grand Theft Auto 5, I don't give a shit. Therefore, this isn't the retailer's fault that the kid got a hold of it, nor is it literally literally the fucking company's fault that the kid got a hold of it. If you're a parent and you let your kid get GTA 5, that is all on you. That means that you said that, yeah, I'm okay with them playing this shit. And honestly, you clearly have yourself to blame if your kid just decides to fucking steal a car after playing Grand Theft Auto. I don't know what kind of fucked parenting you have to do in order to have your kid do that, but you fucked up somewhere. I don't know how to say this enough, but literally not everything is a video game's fault. Parents need to start taking accountability for their shit. That's all I'm saying. Now, my favorite thing within this is that the whole idea of saying that these video games are bad because they're promoting these terrible activities that are negatively impacting our community. Carjackings, obviously, in mind. Marcus Evans is ignoring the timing of all of this happening, as well as the fact that Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 8 fucking years ago. My god, if there was one thing that was gonna make me feel old today, I didn't think it was gonna be that, but yeah, it's that. Now, when it comes to the idea of timing, there are a couple things we need to talk about that get a little bit more serious, and that's the pandemic as well as Chicago's gang activity. Now, I don't mean to crush Marcus Evans' spirits towards going to crush, bad violent video games, but the increase in carjackings can be a ton of things. The first reason behind that could easily be that people are reverting to carjacking to scrap or sell the car that they obtain because they need to make some fucking money in the middle of a pandemic. Because, we've been in this for how many months? And some people are either getting no financial assistance, $1,200, or a total of $2,000, like right away, that is, in financial assistance. Does it justify it? No, but desperate times do call for desperate measures, and if it's between literally paying your rent and committing a crime in order to do that, I'm not surprised that people are reverting to committing crimes to try to get by in this time. Because people are losing their jobs, people can't work because they have to take care of their kids. There's a ton of reasons why people would revert to this. That isn't video game related. Another reason behind this is that schools are not open normally right now, and school is something that does keep kids off the streets and keeps them away from gang activity. Now, I'm not trying to say that this is the school's fault, because it isn't. And when I say it's not the school's fault, I mean it's not the teacher's fault. Fuck CPS. But when you are literally giving kids that may have family involved with gangs, mixed with the fact that resources are not very fucking good right now for keeping up with school virtually, which isn't just a Chicago problem, this is everywhere, but specifically I've seen this within Chicago. Those students may literally be getting caught up in gang activity due to the family members that they are constantly around because they are now constantly at home, some fucking Gran Torino shit, or they just might say fuck it because the system is clearly working against them and they have nothing else to turn to at this time. Again, this is some fuck CPS and fuck the pandemic type shit. And on the topic of when GTA 5 came out, I need you guys to keep in mind that this game came out 8 years ago. And Grand Theft Auto as a series has been going on for 23 years because it started in 97. So with that being said, this argument might have had legs to stand on if there was a continuous increase in carjackings and you could see that because of the video game timing and when it came out for both the series and for specifically Grand Theft Auto 5. Again, big emphasis on might because there are a ton of other factors to take into mind that are other than violent video games. But this is an old ass game and an old ass game series. I doubt there is any correlation you could find between Grand Theft Auto 5 and just Grand Theft Auto as a series having to do with the carjacking rates within Chicago. Because even with that in mind, you would have to see rates go up elsewhere because Grand Theft Auto isn't just distributed within Chicago. And if by some small miracle that the video game bad gods decided to bless upon us with this, Marcus, do you really think that this is going to stop the problems within Chicago regarding carjackings and just crime increase in general? Because we've had plenty of people call for this shit and it's fallen flat every time. We've had people blame video games for mass shootings such as Columbine. We've had video games get blamed for the mistreatment of women, which includes but is not limited to rape. Video games have taken the heat for so many things involving tragedies within the United States, so be honest with me for a second, Marcus. Is a ban really going to fix all of Chicago's problems, or in a couple months from now, are you going to look like a fucking idiot? Hypothetically, if it passed, of course, because we all know that this isn't going to pass. Because there's bigger reasons as to why all this shit is happening within Illinois, such as disprivileged people being literally without resources, disprivileged people literally having the system fucking work against them, or, my personal favorite, the police involvement within CPS, because, that hasn't negatively impacted students as a whole in general and just promoted the school to prison pipeline. But no, it must be Trevor rolling around in a desert in a dress. That has to be the reason why carjackings have clearly went up within Illinois. I truly think that the cherry on top with all of this in general is that studies have shown, such as the one in 2020 by the American Psychology Association, that video games do not have a strong correlation connection between violent acts, and that a link between violent video games and violent acts in general cannot be supported strongly. In 2020, the American Psychological Association reported that there is little scientific evidence that supports a causal link between violent video games and violent behavior. Violence is a complex social problem that likely stems from many factors that warrant attention from researchers, policymakers, and the public. Attributing violence to video games is not scientifically sound and draws attention away from other factors such as a history of violence, which we know from research is a major predictor of future violence. However, the APA did suggest that there is a small reliable association with increased aggression like yelling and pushing, but that these aggressions do not extend to more violent outcomes. These are similar findings to an international study published in 2018. Literally, they're saying that there's like such little evidence behind this because this is more of a complex issue than just saying, oh yeah, you played Cyberpunk 2077. We're just gonna fucking arrest you like beforehand because we know that you probably like love Johnny fucking Silverhand's words, and you're gonna just fucking treat the Willis Tower like it's Arasaka HQ. I like that I've been gone from Illinois for so long that I don't call it the Sears Tower anymore. I call it the Willis Tower. I'm a tourist in my own fucking state. And the studies literally show that aggression is more likely to be correlated than full-blown fucking violence. You know, aggression being like yelling and pushing, which I can genuinely see that more so than I can see full-blown acts of violence. Also, that this has literally been done before in 2011 when California tried to do the exact same thing and it got brought before the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court shut that bitch down because of the fact that video games fell under basically free speech. Specifically violent video games falling under it because we have violent movies, violent books, violent comics, violent media in general. You would have to censor all of that in order to make censoring violent video games okay. Which leads me to saying, go for it. If you really, really hate violent video games as much as you say you do, I think it's time that we just ban all fucking violent forms of media. So, you know, say goodbye to James Bond, John Wick, XXX, the whole shebang, because that would fall under the exact same category due to the violent nature within it. Anyways, I can't wait to go home to Illinois with all my rated M games and get charged $1,000 per game because that's totally realistic and totally fair. Totally something that's gonna solve an already existing problem within Illinois. But yeah, this is like the stupidest shit I've heard this week, but I would like to formally thank Marcus Evans for providing me some top tier funny haha material. Your career as a representative is indefinitely going to be added to that list because clearly you went to fucking Clown University. No, because this is an absolute joke of a take on how to solve actual issues within the city of Chicago, so I'm just saying maybe it's time to go back to Clown University, put that red nose on your face, and just fucking give it round two, I guess. Because at this rate, you know you deserve to go back there. I know you deserve to go back there. The whole country knows you deserve to go back there. But yeah, if anything, this just literally goes to show you that old people will blame video games for literally everything but the actual, like, problem that's at hand for something. Basically, I can't wait for the old generation to just 6 feet under, please. But yeah, that is gonna do it for this video. I promise, despite me literally shitting on the city of Chicago, we do have some good things. I mean, we got deep dish pizza that like slaps. We got Chicago dogs that are bomb as hell. And I mean, we've got like a big reflective beam, so like, also, this is definitely not the video I promised for this week, but sorry in advance for that. I just saw an opportunity to shit on people making bad takes about video games that are politicians at that, so of course I jumped on that shit. Shitting on people making bad video game takes and on politicians? Perfect. Literally my dream job. But with all that being said, I would love to know what you guys think of this situation, whether you live in Illinois or not, clearly, because this is seemingly a United States problem as a whole, because this has just been constantly brought up the last few years, so I think we might as well have this discussion now because we're probably gonna have it again later. And hey, if you like this little video of me shitting on politicians talking about video games, you would probably like other videos I have of me shitting on people talking badly about video games, and you might as well leave this a like and subscribe for that reason alone. It's about like 50% of my content now, but we're gonna make that higher, I promise. But yeah, until the next video, which is going to be the one that I promised, I will see you guys later. Bye!